Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this really fun, really exciting flip through, walk through, first impressions, whatever you want to call this, of the Faunabelle Tarot. This is written by Juanita Benedicto and the art is by Nicola Allen. Oh my gosh, I have been waiting for this for a hot minute, y'all. When this came out, when I found out about this deck, I hit the back button on Kickstarter so stinking fast. Like, oh, a tarot deck made for children so that children can find tarot accessible? That's me. I'm a child. I want tarot to be accessible. I mean, just the fact that they said it was made for children was like, yes, this is clearly my aesthetic. I need this in my life. I am so excited to finally have it in my hands. It felt like it took like a really long time. COVID has really just done a number on just everything, but specifically any kind of paper products, shipping, production, logistics. It's just a nightmare out there for anybody trying to put a product out in the world. I have sympathy for all of you. I'm sorry you're having to deal with that, but I just really need to get into this deck right now. So we're just gonna get into it. The production quality. Let's talk about it for a minute because it is breathtaking in every single aspect. This is a super unique box design. It has a really lovely soft, I think it's a soft touch. Actually, maybe it's not. It's very smooth. It might have ever so slightly a soft touch to the outside of the box. And then there's this beautiful raised embossing that's got just a hint of shine to it, probably a little bit of gloss applied that says Faunabelle Tarot. And then on the side we have also some gloss applied little pop outs here with the star, the moon, the star, the moon. So beautiful. It says on the back, a little deck with a big heart, designed to generate kindness and self-compassion for children and the young at heart. That's me. Probably in both cases. Okay, I'm young at heart, I suppose. Ages 3+. So this is going to be important to keep in mind because one of the missions of the creators of this deck was literally to create a deck that would work for children. So I'm going to try my best to look at it through that lens. I don't think it's going to be that hard for me, if I'm being completely honest. It does have on the bottom of the box the UPC symbol, the author's names, and a note of faunabelle.com for the website. So that is the box. And actually, there's just one more detail I really want to gush about. When you slide this top off, and it's a really nice pressure fit, it's not tight. Like it's snug, but it's not like hard to pull off, if that makes any sense. But it also feels secure. Like if I dump it upside down, slowly it would come out. But like it's not going to go flying, which is really nice. Anyways, this is such a delightful little detail that I think is just gorgeous. It's a really beautiful matte. I'm suspecting it is a soft touch because it's very light absorbing. Anyways, with all these metallic gold, shiny gold, spot glossy details, and it's just such a cool peekaboo. Like, isn't that just the beautifulest? This is probably one of the most impressive packaging designs I've seen yet. It's incredibly well thought out. Okay, anyways, and it's really easy because there's this gap, especially for small hands. It'll be easy for them to take the lid off because when it's flush, it's a little bit easier for little fingers to probably get in there and figure it out, right? So really nice and easy. Anyways, it's so pretty. Okay, stop, Lisa. All right. So when we get inside there is a little bit of a note about the company that printed this deck, which is super interesting. I've never seen that before. That's not necessarily a detail I personally like specifically enjoy, but the transparency I suppose is nice. I just don't think that, I kind of wish that wasn't there. I do hope, this is just me, like, I don't know, feeling a certain type of way, but I do hope that the creators knew that was going to be there and that they signed off on that. Otherwise, I would find that annoying, but that's just a little personal thing. Okay, look at the pretty owl on the front. I'm very babbly and very excited. Can you tell? So we have our little guidebook here, which we will get into, but I don't want to get into until after because we need to gush about these freaking beautiful cards. They are edged in a gorgeous matte shimmery gold, which is my favorite type of edging. It has a little bit of shine to it, but it's going to be nice and sturdy. Can we just hello? This is literally, and I'm not making this up. This is the most breathtaking backing of any deck I've ever held in my hands, ever. Because of the soft touch on these cards, it has a look of velvet. The color contrast here it was such a good choice. Like this deep, dark navy in the soft touch finish with these gold, I'm assuming hot foil stamped detailing. It is the most beautiful thing. It's just I don't even know what to hold up next to it. It's so pretty. like visually, it's a stunning, especially in person. It is such a spectacular effect. And it's so well executed that I have nothing but praise for this product. It's well done. I'm literally speechless. When I first opened this to get the plastic off and I saw these backs, I literally gasped out loud, and I didn't even flip them over because I needed to just take these in for a second. So I'm subjecting you to the exact same experience because I can't help myself, but they are just stunning. Okay, enough of that. All right. Can we tell that I like this deck? I do have a little bit, some minor quibbles, so it's not perfect, but I do absolutely love the production quality of the deck. I think they knocked it out of the park. Like, everything just feels very high quality, very luxe, very tactilely stimulating, which is an interesting thing and something to consider when you're talking about working with children, because children and tactile are very tactile, right? Often, I shouldn't say always, but they can be very tactile. So something that feels nice to touch, that is easy to hold on to, that's not slippery, things like that, that doesn't get light glare, that's all going to be an important thing to consider. And this deck does have a soft touch finish, so if you hate that sort of rose petally sort of feel, you may not love that about this deck. But the benefit to that is that in any lighting, you're not going to get any glare, which is really great, specifically when we're talking about where this deck might get used. Is it going to be in a brightly lit room or a dimly lit room? Anyways, okay, enough. I can't. I'm sorry. At the time I'm filming this, I've only recently made my cardstock video, and I'm still feeling a certain kind of way about all the details, so I may be babbly about that unnecessarily so. But anyways, okay, let's get into the actual card by card walkthrough. Let's take a little tour through the beautiful Faunabelle Tarot. So we have our Fool. I love this adorable little bunny with his knapsack over his shoulder on a path. You can see there's a real journey happening, but it's also at night, and like a little bunny at night, maybe not the safest journey ever. You can kind of get this feeling with the light behind our bunny that he's sort of leaving the safety of a more well-lit path going onto a darker path, which I think is really great. Our Magician is a wolf, and we still have the symbol here. We have Mercury right down here. I think that's Mercury, right? Is that Taurus? Oh gosh, you guys, I'm having a moment. That's not Taurus, that's Mercury. Okay, sorry, I'm having a moment. Anyway, our Magician here is like fanning the flames of this fire. He has a plate there and a cup. We can get into that with all the elements being present for sure. We have earth, air, fire, and water present on the card, which is wonderful. We get that idea of having everything you need. Also, the fact that he's literally at a campfire and is fanning the flames of his fire, like nurturing his own fire so that he can make food and do whatever he needs to do to stay warm. And it kind of speaks to accessing your own resources and taking care of yourself, right? Which can be a really wonderful, these backs are they're almost distracting. They're so beautiful. Anyways, love that. Okay, the High Priest is so pretty. Her access to wisdom here, this idea of intuition with the crescent moon at her forehead. She's surrounded by these pomegranates growing on these branches. She's just beautiful. The Empress is a mama deer with her fawns. See, guys, I remembered. All of you guys educated me during my Tarot with Training Wheels, and I could not remember the name for a baby deer. But anyways, there's also some really sweet bumblebees all around, which is super wonderful because bumblebees are a really good symbol for the goddess, for the divine feminine in general. So that's a really wonderful symbol to have present. And she's wearing the little Venus symbol around her neck. So this deck does not lack in symbology, despite having these very storybook quality beautiful illustrations that I think are going to be really accessible to children. The Emperor card here is so delightful. We have this very imposing, powerful elephant in the foreground and this sweet little baby elephant behind, kind of looking almost partly like feeling like they're kind of hiding, like they feel really safe, but also partly like maybe a little intimidated. It really does send the message of this card quite nicely. The Hierophant is a hummingbird, which I do want to read about. I love that we see the key here, and we see that the Hierophant, the hummingbird is in front of this really interesting, like circular rainbow. What do you call those? I don't know. But in front of one of those. And you get the idea that there's this like portal there that we could access if we could get the key from the Hierophant. The Lovers. I love that it's swans. I love the beautiful weeping willow trees here and the lotuses that aren't quite opening. The dragonfly kind of hovering around there. And then down here in the corner, you do have a little heart engraving with the symbol for Gemini. So far I have seen all the astrological glyphs showing up in these cards, which is cool. The Chariot, we have the little sign for Cancer here, and our donkey is carrying two big jugs of water, which is a really cool way to show the Chariot. He's definitely focused on where he's going. Love that. I like that he's operating under his own steam, not necessarily being like driven or like controlled in some way. I think that's a neat way to look at the card. The Strength card. I mean, lion, roses, beautiful. It's so beautiful, this deck. The Crow for the Hermit here is absolutely divine. I love that the crow is like gathering things here and like kind of going to their little like lonely home in the woods. You get that kind of atmospheric feeling of the Hermit in this card. The Wheel of Fortune with the Scarab. There we see the sign for Jupiter on the scarab's back, and also the four-leaf clover, which is a very accessible sort of luck and fortune kind of symbol for children. Again, I think it's a really smart choice. I like that we also still have the ship's wheel here, which can be a wonderful way to look at the concept of destiny and what that looks like. I will never say this again, probably ever in my life, and nor have I ever said it previously, but that is the cutest darn spider I think I've ever seen. He's adorable. I just want to hug him and squish him, which is insane because I hate spiders, but somehow the artist has managed to make the cutest darn spider. I'm pretty sure he's meant to be a jumping spider, which are really cute spiders. Like if you're really arachnophobic, don't do this, but if you are kind of on the edge of like, I don't really like spiders, or kind of ew, creepy crawly, just Google maybe start by Googling cartoon jumping spider so you don't get like anything too jarring, but then start looking at actual photos of jumping spiders because they're freaking adorable. Anyways, I think that's what he is. Either way, he's a cute spider. I don't know, but he's adorable. Back to the whole card thing. I just had to have a moment about the spider because I don't get excited about spiders ever, ever, ever. But this one's really, really cute. The really exciting thing to me about this is that our spider has a drop spindle. Let me just bring this up. So I actually went through a period of time. I've mentioned I'm a bit of a hobby squirrel, and I did go through a period where I was hobby spinning yarn. And that is a drop spindle. So it's a way that you can create yarn out of wool, roving, or silk, or whatever you're working with. And you can literally make yarn. And then over here is some yarn wrapped around one of our spider friend's legs. There's some scissors and there's the spool. And you really get the idea, at least I get the idea of like, you know, how you spin the yarn is going to affect the web. How you weave the web is going to affect the web. What kind of thread you use, how you cut, how and where you cut it. To me, it really speaks to action consequence. I haven't read the guidebook or looked to see what the intention is. It also kind of gives me a bit of a feeling of the Greek Norns. Is that what they're called? I'm suddenly spacing. But the one who spins, the one who measures, and the one who cuts. Anyways, I just think that's very clever. Okay, the possum holding the little flag of Neptune, reminding us of the astrological association for the card. But this adorable possum in the Hanged Man is literally everything. Like so often, particularly in animal decks, we see the bat as the hanged one, which is great. But the possum is such a fantastic choice for this. And it makes me think of Danny every time I see a possum. So that makes me happy. The death here is a king cobra, which is stunning with a white rose here at the heart. And I'm looking for the astrological glyph. There it is. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny. But there is actually at the center of this white rose the sign for Scorpio. It's just clever. Temperance is our octopus. And the octopus is holding up here the sign for Sagittarius. What is happening over here? Oh, I see. This is the square with the triangle in it from the traditional temperance card. That's the lemniscate, I think, over here, made out of the tentacles. So the symbols are there. It's really clever. They just really thought this out. The devil. And is Capricorn in the candy or, wait, no, those are, oh my gosh, they're handcuffs in the wallpaper behind our devil card, even though he's holding a piece of candy. There's the sign for Capricorn right there. Clever. The tower. I really enjoy this image. I enjoy the fact that you can see the streaks of lightning in the background, but they're not super white and bold. You have all the bones laid at the feet here. And interestingly, this looks like the bull, which is, to me, okay, I know this isn't a bull. This is a goat, right? What do you call, wait, is it goat? Like it's a goatish Capricorn dude, right? Anyways, it kind of gives me some feelings. And actually, I kind of wonder, it's not our emperor, is it? I'm just curious. No, our emperor was the elephant. I don't know. It just gives me feelings of like ego and power being broken down. Like if you want to go deep into the card, that's what it makes me think of. But at its root, root pun anyways, this trunk is on fire. This tree trunk is on fire. And the trunk itself is almost completely burned away. But we also have this vulture here. And vultures, of course, are symbols of sort of feeding off of death and destruction in a way, right? Like this idea that you can still grow and nourish yourself from the remains, right? There's an opportunity there to expand. Anyways, I'm excited about it. This, okay, y'all know I have feelings about ladybugs. Ladybugs are a thing for me. They're a really powerful symbol, actually, of inner child joy and freedom and love and the ability to be vulnerable and safe, and it's a whole thing for me. But this star being the ladybug, just kind of out on this little limb, looking up at the star up here, which has the symbol of Aquarius just sort of tucked away in this beautiful rainbow, another symbol of hope. Like this, the hope message here is really, really strong. I love these little poppies in the foreground too. I can't wait to read what the guidebook has to say about every one of these cards, but I just feel like it's such a strong message of like our little hopeful ladybug who maybe has a long way to go, but has a light to travel by. So beautiful. Okay. The Luna moth for the moon is absolutely gorgeous. I love that it looks like either a new moon or a lunar eclipse. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but I love that it's kind of dark and shadowy. And the way that the card is actually depicted, you really get that feeling of shadow and like things aren't really clear. There's a dog and a wolf. I think here's a dog and I think here's a wolf kind of engraved in the walls of this structure that are around here. And over here, I think I see like a lobster or something like that, or a crayfish kind of engraved, but it's very hard to see. It's hard to make out. And the fact that it's actually, my experience with the card is that it's hard to see things, is a really good indicator of what the card means. Like, what am I actually seeing in those engravings? I can't quite tell. And so the card is literally giving me the experience of what the moon card symbolizes, which I think is so clever. And then, of course, being held here is the symbol for Pisces, which is the symbol associated with the moon. And I just love the Luna moth looking so cheerful there in the center. The crow for the sun is fantastic. I love that. I love the sort of joy of it and the comfort and safety of it as well. Okay, the bear family for awakening. Like this concept of bears coming out of hibernation is a really cool analogy for what the judgment card is all about. I like that it's called awakening and not judgment. I think it's a little easier to wrap your head around that. I love that all the symbols are still on the card, which is so freaking clever. So the flag that is normally held by the angel is all over the pajamas of this mama bear here. And then up in the very top, we have the sign for Pluto. And then this little bear, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to bring it in and look at it through the viewfinder. What is on his jammies? Because I know it's there for a reason. I can't, is it the horn? It might be the horn. I can't, oh no, the horn's here. Oh, it's wings. So this little one has angels, or angel wings all over his jammies. And this little one has the actual horn from the judgment card. So it's so clever that the primary symbols from the Rider-Waite-Smith have been worked into the image in a unique way. It's not there going to overwhelm children, but it's there for those of us who are maybe young at heart and reading this. And then we have the world symbolized by the salmon. It's a really interesting choice for the world, and I do totally get it. Also hanging here from the that should be the symbol for, I think, Saturn, but it's really hard to see. It's dangling from the little staff there. But the salmon, of course, is a wonderful representation of cycles ending and then new ones beginning, right? Okay, so those are the majors. Let's talk about the minors. So each minor arcana seems to tell the story of a particular creature and what its experiences are, which is a wonderful way to relate what each sort of suit represents. And in the wands, we have this adorable little pug. The pug needs a name. If he's not named, I'm going to have to name him. I'll have to check the book in a little while. But I love, this is such a great way to depict what an Ace of Wands moment feels like. Doggy's like, I have a stick. I get to go outside. I get to go outside. I'm really excited. Oh, I should probably be careful how I say that because my dogs are nearby. But he's real excited. The leash is there. He knows he's going to get to go. It's that sense of adventure and going someplace, right? That's what a Ace of Wands moment can really feel like, that new adventure. And then in the Two of Wands, there's a couple things happening here. There's I know where I'm going to get to go. Like, it's like this dog seeing this dog at the dog park, right? And they're like, oh, I get to go there. And there's two sticks. But there's also the idea of possibly buddying up with somebody else, which can be another meaning for the Two of Wands. It's super clever there. And they're getting ready to play in the Three of Wands. I love this. So we know what we're doing now, right? We're going to play. We're going to play chase. We're actively sort of engaging in the process of playing. Then in the Four, everybody's very focused. We're celebrating the moment that a person is getting ready to throw the stick for us, and that's going to be awesome. And then, of course, this is such a great analogy for the Five of Wands, and I could see this having been the inspiration for the entire suit being dogs. I just think it really works super well. I love that I love that in the Six of Wands, he's literally victorious. He's running away with the biggest stick. I mean, it's such a perfect analogy for the Six of Wands. And then in the Seven, dogs do this. They play keep away. They're like, we call it King of the Mountain here, when one of the dogs will like sort of guard a high position. Again, perfect analogy for the Seven of Wands. So clever. Bummed I didn't think of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so good. And then of course, in the Eight of Wands, we're playing chase, that energy of momentum of things taking on a life of their own. The game has now become all that there is. Oh, but we're getting tired in the Nine of Wands. And look, there's our little hope of the ladybug there down on the one stick. But look how tired he is. It's like if you've ever played with a puppy who's just overplaying. Yep. And now our poor puppy has overwhelmed himself. All his friends are over there and he's got all the sticks, but he's also overwhelmed with all of the sticks, right? So really great 10 of Wands. This is my one beef, I would say. I wish that the court cards had something more going on. I also wish that they had titles. Because I think it's going to be pretty easy to get to know them, but I think for kids it would have been helpful too. But anyways, we have these portraits on the wall of different characters. I'm assuming it's like the Pug's family, right? So we have the Page of Wands here with this feather in his hat. The Knight of Wands is our very in-motion puppy. The Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. So again, I think they'll be pretty easy to tell. My biggest concern would be the Queen and the King, but they've gone with, I feel like it won't be too hard. Like, she's got flowers on her crown. But I do kind of wish, oh, I love that the King has lots of sticks on his cape. That's pretty great. Anyway, I do wish they'd done something slightly different with the quartz, but they do work. It's just, I don't even know what I would have suggested, right? And that's the thing. It's like, am I just complaining? Because I don't know what I would have suggested. But anyway, now we're into our cups. We have our Ace of Cups, and this is so great. So now we're going to follow the adventures of a little goldfish. And this is great because we're talking about relationships and relating to others and emotions and things like that. And of course, the Ace of Cups, this idea of like somebody new is coming into our lives. We're having a new opportunity for connection, for emotional fulfillment of some kind, which this really works. He's getting a friend. And then in the Two of Cups here, there's a little heart of bubbles between them. Love that. In the Three, we have them playing and dancing. And it's the bubbles that are the number of the suit, right? So we have 4 bubbles here in the Four of Cups. We've got this sense of boredom here. Some sadness with the droopy tail, like maybe they've had an argument in the 5. Looks like they're making up with one another in the 6, quite honestly. In the 7, ooh, what shall we do? What shall we do? And then in the 8, literally bailing out of the bowl. Then in the 9, we're really happy and content. I'd be curious about the book because the cup suit isn't feeling as expressive as the wand suit, probably just because they're fish, right? It's just harder to see the personality in them. And then we have our 10, and they're blowing bubbles together. They're creating new bubbles together. So they're creating new things around them from their friendship or their connection. And then, of course, we have our Page, Knight, Queen, and King. So yeah, as fish, I mean, this one's a little harder, right? I'm just going to have to remember that the kings are like closer in. Super cute. Okay. Here we have the sword suit, and we're getting into the adventures of little cockatiel. This makes me really happy. I used to have a green cheek conure named Jasper, and even though this is a cockatiel and not a green cheek conure, it still kind of makes me think of Jasper, and the way birds respond to mirrors, this cracks me up. So this sudden realization that he's not alone, well, at least that's his perception, right? Oh, I'm not alone. There's another bird here, is like that sudden realization of what's, you know, a new way of looking at the world. That's kind of what the Ace of Swords represents, right? In the 2, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? I don't know, friend or foe. Do I engage with it? Do I avoid it? What do I do? It's creating some feelings. This, I feel like, I'm curious to see what the guidebook has to say about it. I feel like there could be something more here, some other way to recognize the energy of this card, because we see the little tear. But yeah, I don't know, we'll see. In the Four of Swords, this serenity sitting on top of the cage, out of and away from the difficult decisions or the difficult feelings or thoughts that the mirror is bringing up for our bird. So there's some tranquility getting away from that mirror. And then in the Six of Swords, there's this look, or wait, this was the 4. This is the 5, right? Am I just like totally off in La La Land? No, 3, 4. Yeah, this is the 5. So I got to count the feathers. It's interesting because in the 5, we're often feeling like somebody's gotten the better of us or we've gotten the better of somebody else. And we're looking at it looks like a window, but I think it's a picture. We're looking at a picture, not a mirror, of a larger cockatoo with a cockatiel. So I don't know what's happening here. And then in the Six of Swords, this is usually the card of escape, right? The freedom that the window represents. Interesting. And then in the Seven of Swords, it's something's happening, but I don't know what. Again, this one I feel like I need the book to really understand what they were going for here, because it really just looks like he's looking back at the cage. Super curious if you guys are watching this and you feel like commenting as you watch, what this one made you think of immediately when you saw it. I love reading that stuff because it's always neat to see how you guys look at these cards when I'm going through them. Well, after, I guess, because I've already gone through them by the time you get to comment, but you know what I mean. And the Eight of Swords, this blindfold, I don't see it, it doesn't see me kind of moment is what I feel like here. The Nine of Swords, there's a straight up freak out. Like, he's just freaking out. He's like, probably attacking the mirror at this point. He's like, go away, I don't, like, you're scaring me. And then in the 10, the mirror is broken. He probably freaked out, attacked the mirror. The mirror's now shattered. He's now, like, feeling, like, super dramatic and screwed over by the whole thing, which is pretty much classic how I feel like the 10 of Swords can be. It's just, like, this big drama fest. Super cute. Again, I want to read the book to get to know it a little better, but just freaking adorable the whole way through. There's our page. Knight, Queen, and King. And that brings us to our pentacle suit. Oh my gosh. So now we have turtles, or a turtle specifically. This is pretty great. We have a turtle here who's literally looking at a newspaper like he's going to take out a job ad. And we're going to see the turtle interacting with some yarn. And it's cute because he's looking at this like maybe like an ad or an article, and it's a hand holding up a ball of yarn. And it's like it gives him an idea of something he could do or work on. Next thing you know, our turtle has a couple of balls of yarn. And he's kind of juggling them or playing with them or maybe learning about them, working with them. In the 3, he's buddied up with some other buddies, and it looks like they're plotting out some kind of project that involves yarn, maybe like a blanket or something. And then in the 4, he's got a knitting needle, and he's holding on to all of his yarn. I mean, if anybody's ever knitted in their life or crocheted, yarn hoarding is like such a great, such a great depiction of the 4 of Pentacles, in my opinion. In the 5, it's almost like the fear is, what happens when I get old and I can't knit anymore? I mean, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. Again, I want to read the stories in the, like the bits in the guidebook to see. In the 6, he's sharing some yarn with some mice. Very nice. In the 7, this is interesting to me because it's just like balls of yarn stacked up. Again, I feel like this could be clearer somehow, but maybe the guidebook will clear it up. This is a grade 8 with actually weaving with the yarn. And then the 9, really enjoying the blanket that's been woven or knitted or whatnot. Being able to really enjoy the work that they've done. And then in the 10, that work now is sustaining or supporting the family, right? You get that idea from the 10. So I think that's a really good, the last few cards in the suit I feel like really make a lot of sense. Then we have our page, trying to keep my fingers out of the way till it's time to lift them. Our knight, queen, and king has a nice scarf. All right, so let's get zoomed out and give these a shuffle. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I really want to work with them. We're going to take a look at the guidebook, see if we can sort it out. Now, these are pretty stiff cardstock. I don't think they're going to really bridge that well. They are very stiff, and they're a little bit squarer. I should show you because I didn't do this yet. So here's a standard sort of tarot card size. So they are wider. You can see that they are quite a bit wider, and they are also notably shorter. So they've got a more square feeling. I'm guessing this is the kind of deck, it's kind of a weird thing. I'm in love with the backs. I wouldn't change a thing. And yet, little hands are obviously not going to be shuffling these, probably, right? They're probably going to be drawing them. And so how it fans is probably going to be really important. So I'll be curious to see that at the end when I fan the deck, how it fans, because I feel like fanning would be a good method for children, or spreading them out and letting them just pick a card. But it's quite difficult to bridge. I mean, I'm still going to do it because I can't help myself, but all right. So what we'll do, I think, is we'll do an energy obstacle advice reading. a little sample read. That way I can look at the guidebook for a few different cards, because the guidebook doesn't look particularly thick or overwhelming, so I think we can easily do that. Okay. Come on now. Yeah, real difficult to shuffle, but I do think it'll break in a bit. We'll see. But it's pretty stiff, and the squarer shape does make it a little bit less bendy in the middle. There's like less leverage to bend them. Apparently I'm going to do it again. Yeah. We'll see. This might be a hand over hand, but it does clump a little because of the rose petal. I mean, these kinds of things, I don't know. It's all personal preference, but all right, let's just see. So we're going to go right into the middle. We're going to do energy. We have good. We have one of our swords cards, because I do want to see what the guidebook had to say about that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of swords. Wait, that's not right. That looks like, I think this is the 8 of swords. Oh yeah, there's 2 more feathers in the back. So the 8. Again, here's another thing. I do wish there was numbers on these so I didn't have to count the pips to confirm for sure what I'm looking at. Like, yeah, it's probably the 8, but like, yeah, I think especially with kids, the numbers being on there would be helpful. Our obstacle is the moon. And our advice card is the 2 of cups, correct? No, there's lots of bubbles here. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, if the number was on there, I feel like that would have been more obvious, but because there's only 2 fish ever throughout the entire suit of cups, you do kind of have to count the bubbles. All right, so that's our advice card. Let's take a look at the guidebook and sort of untangle this for ourselves. So lovely little perfect bound guidebook. And there's a table of contents for major, minor, and spreads. Major arcana. Now, I do believe that the creators of this deck were going to be doing a series of video like lessons, or like kind of like a video guidebook, essentially going through the entire deck. If it already exists, I'll try to find it and put a link down below. If you know it exists and I don't have a link, can you share it with us? Because it could be that I just wasn't able to find it. It does look like we have both an upright and it's called upside down, which is great, more clear than saying reverse, meaning for every card, which is super. Looks like it goes that way through the, no, it's a little different through the minors. So that's what the majors look like. So let's go. Let's take a look at the, I'm all over the place. Let's take a look at the minors. The minors do still have an upright and an upside down, but then the court cards have like little, it looks like personality profiles. Do we have a court card example here? No. So we'll look at one of those as well. But let's do our little reading. So we have our 8 of swords. So let's find our sword suit. There's the sword suit. There's the 10, the 9, and the 8. So this was our energy card, and the 8 of swords says, upright, I have more options than I think I do. I will look again. So really clear and really simple. If this card were reversed, it says, I can learn to kick thoughts that bully me out of my head. Very good, punchy messages that get right to the point. So I like that. So for our energy, this would be in the upright position. I have more options than I think I do, so I will look again. Okay, fair enough. And then the obstacle card would be the moon. So we're going to be looking at the reversed meaning of the moon card. So here it says, I'm only going to read the upside down. Let's just see how that goes. So I am an explorer of my inner cave. I delight in the discoveries I've made. I've found my wild side and connected to my dreams. I've even found parts of my mother, my father, and the earth that live inside of me. When moon moth flutters by upside down, she inspires me to connect to every part of who I am. Sing the songs of your mother, tell the stories of the mountains, the wind, and the trees. Let your imagination set them free. So, I don't know how I feel about that. I felt like that was a little bit muddy. I am an explorer of my inner cave. I delight in the discoveries I've made. I found my wild side and connected to my dreams. Okay, so finding your wild side and connecting to your dreams, that makes sense. I've even found parts of my mother, my father, and the earth that live inside of me. So, I'm not sure. Like, I guess we're talking about mining the depths of the subconscious with that. I'm not 100% sure. Let's look at the upright just out of curiosity. So it says, my feelings confuse me sometimes. I'm sad, but I'm not sure why, or I get angry for a silly reason. When Moon Moth glides by, she encourages me to be curious about the way I feel. Okay, I get this. Follow your feelings the way an explorer maps out a cave. Where do they sit inside of you? What memories do they hold? My feelings are breadcrumbs that lead to parts of myself that hide in my inner cave. Okay, this is making a lot more sense when I look at it in context of the upright. When I'm confused with the way I feel, I know my hidden parts want to come out. Okay, and then there's the upside down meaning. So I feel like I do wish the upside down meaning here was a little more incorporated some of the bits from the upright in a way, if that makes any sense, because if you flip to this, especially if you're doing readings with your kid or, you know, your cousin or your nephew or whatever, I don't know. If you're doing that, you might not want to have to read the whole thing to kind of get what they're trying to say here. And it might have been a little bit easier if there was just a little nod, but I could just be being nitpicky. I don't know. Could be. Let's take a look at the 6 of Cups, which was our advice card. the Six of Cups upright. Kindness is my superpower. When I am kind, the whole world loves me back. So again, very simple messages here. I really like that. Okay, so I was just kind of playing, but let's take a look at a court card. So I'm just going to flip until I find, well, here, let's just flip through until we find, oh, there we go. I was going to say, we'll flip until we find our first court card, but there's one sitting right there. So this looks like maybe the King of Swords. So let's take a look and confirm if we got the right person. Where's our swords? There we go. Yes, so it's closer up, so that's the king. So it's like a personality profile. So here's what it says. It says, the King of Swords enjoys a good game of chess, is open to untangling mental knots, is great at helping everyone see the bigger picture, struggles with connecting to his emotions, favorite place is in his integrity, and his motto is thoughts become things. I agree with that 1000%. I think that's a great way to look at the court cards as like little profiles of different people. That's really great. It gives you a personality picture of who this is and what energy they're bringing to the table. So that's really exciting. I really want to work with this and just kind of see how it actually functions for me in real time. I've already picked out a peggy bag to put everything in. So that's going to be available to me when I'm ready. But for now, I want to give this a fan and just see how it does. It has been shuffled a bit, but I'm suspecting it's going to stick. Actually, that's actually not bad. I have to help it. I don't know if you saw that, but I'm kind of like helping move it along. It actually did a pretty okay job at fanning. It's not as clumpy and awful as I feel like soft touch or rose petal finishes can be. It actually did a pretty nice job. But that is a lovely deck. I'm really excited to work with this. I'll definitely be keeping you guys posted about how it works out. So keep an eye out for my monthly show and tell to see if I have worked with it recently, because that's when I'll usually update you about any decks I've been working with and how they've been working out. So keep an eye on that for an update. I don't think this is going anywhere out of my collection anytime soon. I think it's absolutely delightful, and it is visually and tactilely incredibly stunning. I want to see how it works, so I'm excited to see how it plays out, but curious to hear your thoughts down below if you picked this one up and you've had a chance to play with it, or if you're thinking about picking it up. I picked this deck up via Kickstarter. I backed it on Kickstarter, but I'm assuming that it will be available for purchase, so I will have links, relevant links down below for you to check it out. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure and like this video if you enjoyed the walkthrough or you found value in it. Subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to click that little notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos. Thank you all so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.